Good afternoon. Great. Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Justice Corrigan. This is just one of the greatest things that I'm involved in, and that is working for these neglect and abused children. And thank you, children here, for singing so wonderful this afternoon. We appreciate you. I just want to talk a little bit about the Awareness Day here. As Justice Corrigan already said, that is 29,000 abused and neglected children in Michigan. And what that is, that's 81 children a day. Unemployment, poverty, parental drugs and alcohol abuse, stress, social isolation, and violent communities are identified risk factors for child maltreatment. Promoting family functioning, resiliency, social support system, concrete support, nurturing and attachment, and knowledge of parenting and child development are all known protective factors which prevent child maltreatment and help to strengthen the families. Both state and nationally, child abuse is considered to be one of the nation's most serious public health problems, with scientific studies documenting the link between the abuse and neglect of children and a wide range of medical, emotional, psychological, and behavioral disorder, such as depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, severe obesity, juvenile delinquency. Child abuse costs the nations an estimated annual direct cost of $108.3 billion. That's approximately $942 each year for the average American family. Prevention strengthens families and is cost effective. Research shows that every $1 spent on child abuse and neglect prevention, $7 will not be spent on publicly funded crisis-oriented programs such as protective services, foster care, special education, and counseling. This does not take into account juvenile delinquency or adult incarceration. Child abuse prevention is an acknowledged community responsibility. The theme of this Prevention Awareness Day event is the power of one. This statewide initiative under the leadership of the Children's Trust Fund asserts that the power of one person, one community, $1, one action, and so forth during April will help protect children from abuse and neglect throughout Michigan. There are countless options to strengthening the mission of making child abuse prevention a reality. Child Abuse Prevention Month is an opportunity for you to become a positive force on behalf of the children and families in your community. No one person can do anything, but everyone can do something, and together we can do anything. So thank you for allowing me to be here, and it is just a privilege to work with this organization. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here for this very important occasion. Child abuse prevention. I want to thank the Children's Trust Fund for their advocacy. I want to thank my colleagues, Senator Scott, and certainly Justice Corrigan. She has been just a tireless advocate, and we've worked together many times to help improve the plight of those who are neglected and abused. I'm going to be very brief. We're still in session, but I did want to step out to say a few words. I love our founding documents. I do. I freely admit it. And the one that I probably love the most is from the Declaration of Independence. For we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These rights should extend to our youngest citizens, and certainly child abuse and neglect war against these rights. And so we must all step up to the plate. Yes, the power of one is important. But I believe we need to go farther. We need to strengthen our families and our communities so that we stand in the gap wherever there is a gap for our children, our young children, to protect them from the heinous crimes of abuse and neglect. And that means something I call compassionate community engagement, where we come together, working together, whether through organizations or individually, to help these children in situations where we find them. So I commend you for being here. I commend you for your support. We commend the Children's Trust Fund to all those in Michigan. I thank you for your commitment, and I thank these very beautiful young people for their coming and singing, and they're probably getting tired, so I'm going to quit. May God bless you all as you continue the fight. Thank you.
Some of these figures you'll be hearing all day. Figure like last year, 29,401 children were abused or neglected in Michigan. I sit on the Appropriations Committee, and when I leave here, I've got to go back up there. I've got to brief my budget. And you hear numbers all the time in Michigan, especially here in the legislature, and you hear about dollar amounts being spoken to in the millions and the billions, and you kind of lose track of what it really means. So in order for me to put it in perspective, I look at a figure like 29,000 and change, and I look at a community the size of the largest community that I represent, which is Port Huron, Michigan. To me, what this figure means is that almost every person that lives in Port Huron, if they were a child or a resident in Michigan, would have been abused or neglected last year. Now, we wouldn't tolerate that, would we? Absolutely not. Police chief would have been hired. And when Rick Jones and I were baby cops together, we probably would have been fired if we hadn't done the job. We've got to do better. I get the statistics, and so do my colleagues here, and we hear 81 children in Michigan get abused or neglected daily. Well, it doesn't mean anything, really, unless they happen to be somebody that you know, somebody that lives next door, it's a family member. So here's what I'm proposing. These figures are important, no question. But what we've got to do, in my opinion, is I've got to pretend, I've got to look at a child that gets abused when I hear a report as it being my baby granddaughter, as it being my son, as it being the kid down the street that lives with a single family mom that is working 2 jobs and going to school and working extremely hard to make a better life for her child, or 2 boys. I'm kind of their adopted granddad. That's what we've got to do, and we've got to educate people to do that. I've got some legislation that I'm introducing that is going to make it a requirement for someone that has been convicted of either child abuse or neglect, well, not just sexual abuse, but child abuse, or if you beat a child, you're going to go on a registry, and your neighbors are going to have to know about it. If they want to, they're going to know about it, because if they see a sign saying this is a pattern, they can report that individual and not say, well, it's a one-time occurrence. We had a child in Port Huron recently, beautiful child, got beat to death by her dad, 2 years old. And this guy had a pattern of doing that. It's got to stop. It's got to stop because it's our moral obligation, it's our moral duty. And Lord, we'll feel better in the morning for doing it. Better the next day for doing the right thing. Am I right? I hear some of you, I'm not going to say which one it was, sang exactly like I did when I was your age. Which was a good thing. All right, don't take it wrong. I thank you very, very much for being here, for showing your dedication to I can't think of a nobler cause than the one that you're attempting to accomplish. But your work, I'm afraid, the way that things are will never, ever be done. We just got to persevere and keep going strong and keep moving forward. Thank you very much.